Hello and welcome to The Real Hernando, presented to you by Wesley Meadows Retirement Community and produced by SRP Studios Podcasting. This podcast spotlights Hernando, Mississippi's businesses, organizations, and community leaders. This podcast is also sponsored in part by the Desoto Arts Council, Brandon Vanderburg with Shelter Insurance, Desoto Local, 95.3 The Rebel, Angela Kid Insurance, City Hall Cheesecake, Pokecha's Egg Rolls, Motivate with Coach Camp, Denise's Happy Hounds, Tadpool Swim School, and Big Note Music Lessons. Please follow us at therealhernando.com for all channels and social media platforms. Now, a word from Wesley Meadows Retirement Community. Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. Welcome back. I'm your host, Derek, and today we are spotlighting Techtrain365. Techtrain365 is all about bringing live, instructor-led training to teams and individuals, whether online or on site. From mastering Excel shortcuts to navigating cybersecurity, they aim to make tech approachable and useful for everyone. Today joining me is co-founder and trainer, Bobbye Garrity. Hey,
Hello.
Bobbye, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Good to have you here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
In
Thank
person,
you for having
finally.
me. Yes.
We've been on the phone and emailing and everything, but it's nice to meet you.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
You got it. So we want to learn all about Techtrain.
Yes.
And then obviously learn about Bobbye. So let's give some information on the front end. It's
Okay.
Techtrain365.com.
Yes.
And give us a brief overview of what Techtrain offers,
Sure.
and then we can start dissecting from there.
So Techtrain365, we offer all the tech training, everything from the top to the bottom, everything from Microsoft Office Suite to business skills, team building, to more on the tech side, cybersecurity, DevOps, cloud computing. We've got it all.
Man, stuff that is just Japanese to me.
I know.
You are very well needed.
That's what keeps us in business.
I bet. Yeah. So off mic, you mentioned traveling.
Yes.
So what does that involve? What are you taking to your clients and customers?
So probably 60% of my time I'm now on the road. And when I'm not, I'm home in my office teaching remotely. But we deliver classes on site to businesses who, for whatever reason, a lot of times they just have differing levels of experience. Some don't know how to spell Excel. Some don't know how to left click and right click and just need the absolute basics. And then others are just looking for what's new, tricks, tips, shortcuts.
Like upgrading.
And so a lot of companies are just looking to get everybody on the same level, right? To fill in the gaps where you're self-taught just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what we do is just go in and kind of based on their skill set, get them leveled up for what they need to do in their job.
And then they're on their own from there?
Absolutely.
Do you have long-term relationships where they're kind of your go-to as a consultant? What if something goes wrong, if they're having some issues with programs, do they access you for help with that?
Oftentimes, they'll have us either come back for a refresher course or to bump it up to the next level. Like we've kind of been practicing this, we've got it down, and now we're looking to bump that up a bit. Sometimes I'll get an email with just a random question of, I don't remember how you did it. And that's fine too. We'll field those. But they are given lots of resources, takeaway resources when we're done with them, as far as courseware, cheat sheets, things like that.
Yeah.
And they usually do very well after class.
Do you have a region that you cover?
We're worldwide.
As far as travel, though? I mean,
worldwide.
Really?
Yeah. I've been all over the United States minus 4 states I'm missing, right in the middle.
Wow.
And then several things international. So, yeah, we're all over. We'll go anywhere.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So is this a franchise? Or
No, we are it.
Well, good
Just
for
us.
you.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, well, I'm fascinated. This is going to be a story here.
There's a story there.
Obviously. Well, let's break into it. So first, when did you start and open up Techtrain?
It's been open a year this past month, and the history is I've been in the tech training business for 18 years plus, and I was at a tech train facility for 12 of those years. Got picked up by corporate out of Anaheim for that company, and they kind of handpicked 4 or 5 instructors to be the ones that traveled everywhere. Did that for a long time, and then that business was acquired by another company a year ago. And so that's where myself and 2 other instructors on that corporate team decided to just go off on our own, take a leap, and we thought we've done this for a lot of years. Each of us had close to 20 years experience, and we thought we can do this. Let's just go out on our own, and we know what we're doing. We know at the ground level what everybody needs because we're the ones in the classroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have had a blast this last year.
So it's you and 2 others?
It is.
So the 3 of you are you co-owners?
That's right. Correct.
Are you partners?
That's right.
Awesome.
We all teach. We're all co-owners, and we run the business.
So this is where I get really intrigued because you're taking your expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Starting a business is one thing.
Yeah.
But marketing and building.
It's a lot.
So what was that learning curve for y'all?
It's definitely been.
Clearly if you're already flying around the world,
sure,
you're doing something right. I want to know how you're getting your clients because I could probably use some help learning how to do this. After 1 year, that's wild. Were you leaning on old contacts and referrals, or how have you been marketing yourself to grow this quickly?
Sure. Well, the 3 of us who co-founded Techtrain365, we each have sort of a specific skill set. I'm really good front-facing to the customer. I'm in there to sort of help them know what they need and where their gaps are and help tailor what we do. I have another guy who's really good on the back-end web development, getting our website up and running. And then we have another one who's owned a business before and kind of knows the ins and out and the financial side. He does a lot of that. And so between us, we each had just enough to kind of kick it off the ground. And because we've been in the industry for so many years, as I said, in the classroom level, we know exactly what people need. And so we just began to beat the bushes. We network. We know a lot of people who know a lot of people. And so it's just kept us pretty busy in this past year.
Just relationships and knowing people.
Yes, just connections.
Not so much digital media, advertising and marketing. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that's why business partnerships do work well.
Yes, they do.
If you can all get along.
Yes.
Each one brings a different piece to the pie.
We've been really blessed in that we each just have a certain thing, a niche of what we do, and we work very well like a well-oiled machine together, the 3 of us.
Yeah, I'm solo, so I have to pretend.
Yeah, right?
that I know everything, but I don't. Trust me.
Wear lots of hats.
Wear lots of hats. Too many hats. Well, that's fascinating. So a year.
Yes.
And you've already been to every state in the country minus...
Not in the past year have I been to all the states.
Oh, but just throughout your career.
But in my career, I've been through lots of travel. And it is my favorite part of what I do. I love being on the road. I'm a bit of a nomad. I've got wanderlust. I was born with it. And so I just love to go. And our family's grown. And so I have the freedom to do that now.
Oh, okay. So you have kids?
Yes.
And they're all adults now?
Yes. We have 6 grown kids, including 2 Marines.
Wow.
And 9 grands. So if I'm not on the road, I'm rocking a grandbaby.
Wow.
And we have an 8-week-old puppy on top of that we just got. So.
Did you start very young? Because you do not look like someone that would have 9 grandkids.
Yeah, we have 9 babies, a huge span from new baby to graduated high school. So they keep us pretty busy. If I'm not traveling with work, I'm looking for the next road adventure with the babies.
That's awesome.
Give them wanderlust young.
I have one 16-year-old.
That's a fun age.
We're on the back 9.
That's great. That's fun.
But I traveled for a living too in the music world.
That's awesome.
As you can see, my guitar's over. You can't see it on camera, but my guitar's over there.
Super cool.
Between that and just general traveling, I've been to 43. So you've got me beat.
I'm almost there.
And you said you have 2 left?
I have 4 left.
4 left.
Yes. Right in the middle. I can hit them all at the same time.
See, mine is spread out. Mine is all
That's
West
tougher.
Coast, Hawaii, Alaska.
Yeah.
and then Jersey and Delaware, all on the way on the other side of the country.
Couple of trips for you.
Yeah.
Now, Hawaii and Alaska are my favorites.
Yeah, I bet.
Those are the best.
Yeah. What time of year were you in Alaska?
I've gone to Alaska 3 times, and it happens to be my all-time favorite gig. It was, very strangely, a gold mining base camp outside of Juneau, and it was so remote that they had to bus and boat me to get me into where they were, and they just lived there 3 or 4 months at a time, and I bunked with them for 2 weeks in the snow, more snow than I'd ever seen in my life.
Do they even have internet out there?
They have internet out there. They spend most time underground, of course, and then when they're above ground, I think they had 2 hours of light during the day, so it was very bizarre and a super cool experience. So lots of snow in Alaska.
It must have felt like a different world.
It really was.
Like a different planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Very strange to not have sunlight but 2 hours a day.
Yeah. When I go to Alaska, I'm doing the 6 months of sunlight.
Yeah.
I can't do. Well, I mean, if I'm there for a week, it's different. If I was to ever have to live there, I wouldn't.
No.
I couldn't.
No.
I would not do well in the 6 months of darkness.
Yes. And you can tell it gets to them. It was an interesting culture there.
I bet. Yeah. So Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah, outside Juneau.
Is that near Anchorage?
I don't know exactly. But every time I've flown into Juneau to do that one, I've done that one 3 times and bunked with them. Just really fun. It's definitely my favorite part.
Was that trip Techtrain or your previous?
This was my previous career. And it was just very interesting, very different. And that's what's neat about the travel is just going in and learning their culture, learning what their geography is. I just ask the locals, what's the best eats? What are the must-sees? And they always steer me in the right direction. So I've seen lots of
awesome.
Really cool stuff in the United States and international.
So what sets y'all apart?
That's a good question. So what sets Techtrain365 apart is that we are run by instructors. You know, we are the ones who have our thumb on the pulse of where everybody is, what they need, what can we do to meet those needs. And that's been very interesting because at the ground level, we understand what it takes to help a classroom of a lot of people understand what you're talking about with all different varying degrees of levels of experience with anything we're teaching. And so it's hard to manage that unless you are in the classroom and understand it. We've done this a very long time, the 3 of us. We all have close to 20 years experience or more. And because we've done it for so many years, we're just a good fit together to make sure that we are staying ahead of the curve on what's coming in technology.
Because it changes constantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, if we wait, then we get left behind. We have to stay ahead to be able to teach the ones who are looking at what's new. What are the tricks and tips and new features in all of these platforms?
You need to be the expert with every new chapter of tech.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
It is.
And, you know, I'm not good with that myself. I'm not.
A lot aren't, and that's what keeps us busy.
And social media is the same thing. You know, my world is social media, and it's changing constantly. And I'm like, I need a guru to keep up with this stuff for me.
And everybody, it's a source of frustration. And what happens is it just really slows down productivity. I just want to get through my day of work. I want to not spend all this time in Excel fighting with it to get it to do what I want it to do. Or I finally got it done. There must be a better way to do what I just did. So I really enjoy the light bulb moments in class of folks just going, I had no idea you could do that. Even my power users. I've done this for years the hard way. I didn't know. And so just this past week, I was teaching a class, and at the end, I was teaching macros, which is a recorder. It records keystrokes and repetitive processes. And at the end of that, she was so excited and said, you've just taken my 8-hour day and I can do it in 3. Because everything she did was repetitive. It was the same keystrokes. And so once she could learn the macros, she was super excited about just the productivity increase.
Now her boss is like, okay, we'll give you more work now.
And then we get more classes. Because everybody else wants to learn that.
Yeah, because some people are born teachers. They just know how to teach and present, but not necessarily truly know the ins and outs of what they're teaching.
Sure.
You know, I see that in business coaching. I'm not throwing shade on anyone, but there's a lot of people that know how to coach, but don't know what they're coaching. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So they're dealing with the faces of the business who are also the experts.
Yes.
So there's definitely a connection there, isn't there?
There really is.
There's like a trust factor.
There is. Yeah. It's relationships, it's connections, it's trust. It's knowing that it's okay to ask questions in the middle of class. It's okay if you're working towards a certification, thinking about exams and getting nervous. We kind of walk you through those things. We just handhold and make sure that you get from point A to point B and you're more confident in it, less scared of what you might click and blow it up.
Yeah. And you're a resource they can lean back on.
That's right.
So it's an ongoing.
Yes.
So do you have many long-term clients? Well, I say long-term, you guys are a year old, but
sure.
But do you have some accounts that you're going to be working with over some time?
For sure. You get into bigger companies and they learn your pace, learn your style. You get to know them and their industry and what their needs are. And yes, they want to develop that relationship for the next level or the next thing. And we end up going back to them over and over long term.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know they can trust y'all.
Yes.
I'm curious. I think I asked you this on the phone, but I'm curious as to why businesses gravitate to Microsoft over Google, because Google has sheets and there are versions of Excel and Word and the calendars, and it's designed to share and communicate and everything. But all the big businesses I've collaborated with use Microsoft.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's a good question, and I am not as familiar with Google Sheets, but I can tell you because a couple of years ago, Skype retired, and we were sort of about that time, it was 2 or 3 years ago, and we were also hitting COVID at the same time. So a lot of folks were thrown into the deep end. They were suddenly either hybrid or working remotely, at home with their kids also doing school, and it was a wild, hot mess. And so at that time, rolled out Office 365, Microsoft 365, and Teams, SharePoint, those things. And when companies migrated over to that, they felt thrown in the deep end. They're like, I don't even know where to save my files anymore.
Right.
Where do I find them? How many copies do we have?
Before this, it was OneDrive.
We still have OneDrive. That's still part of Team or
365. Okay.
It is. I'd say it's one of my top classes is that, because of the fact that it created a lot of confusion of how do they all play nicely together? Which ones, how are they different? And so in one day, I host a class that covers Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneNote, OneDrive. Those 4 of just going, how do I manage these and how do we utilize them to increase our productivity and work smarter, not harder? And in one day, they're going, okay, now that kind of makes sense. A simple example is if it has the word one on it, it's for your eyes only. It is my own personal OneDrive. It has my files, my master files. If it's OneNote, it's my personal collaborative or collection of a repository of things I need to keep together. The Teams and the SharePoint are Teams-based, and you can share files. You can collaborate even real time, anywhere, anytime on any device.
Yeah.
And so that helps clear up some of the confusion for folks when they see hands-on what it does ground up.
Yeah, okay. Because like Google, you can share a folder. Now you're both in the folder together, and you can both access when needed. And
very similar in the OneDrive.
Yeah, I was always curious about that because, when I'd have to do a Zoom, but they're like, we're doing it on Microsoft Teams, I'm like, I'd get confused. I was like, I'm so used to Zoom. Yeah. Even when someone says Google Meets, I'm just like, can't we just do Zoom?
That's just what you're familiar with.
But yeah, it seems like the bigger corporations, they do Microsoft. Is there a security thing too? That's different than what Google provides? And again, I know I'm not asking you to be a Google expert here, but yeah, what's the security
certainly
like?
High on the priority list, because if these companies are rolling out, collaboration with big files and even inviting people in for their meetings, they've got to lock that stuff down tight. And so, security is very high priority with them.
I bet, yeah. I mean, it's, sensitive information.
Sure.
All this stuff. What will be some of the personal experiences that when you are at a class and now you're in Juneau, Alaska, any location, and you're giving a class, kind of give us a rundown of what that looks like and what kind of experience they get with the fact that you're there in person.
Sure. Well, I do remote classes and on-site, and folks tend to like on-site better. They want me physically in front of them. You know how that is. instead of fighting with computers and connectivity. So when I'm physically on site with them, I can see them, I can touch them, I can control if they get completely lost. It's a lot of body language reading of just knowing they're completely lost in the back corner. My claim to fame is I memorize names. I know everybody's name in every class before I start.
God bless you.
The most I did is 80 in one day. I had 2 groups of 40, half day each.
And
I didn't know any of them.
And you remembered all their names?
Go through and tell them good morning one by one by name at the beginning and the end.
Were you cheating?
I was not cheating.
They had name tags,
no,
didn't they?
No. It's just something I've taught myself to do, and it's something that helped me grow a lot in the business.
Please teach me that.
I just didn't want them to feel like another butt in the seat, right? I wanted them to know if they were in the back corner and confused, I had their back. Like, John, is your computer misbehaving? You want me to come kick it around for you? And John's like, please come help. So physically having me on site is much more, personable, obviously, instead of looking at a camera. But I set the pace and the air in the room very early on of building credibility and making them comfortable to ask any questions, nothing silly. And then that feeds itself into everybody else if they're comfortable. There was a gentleman who was in one of my very first classes ever 18 years ago, and he shaped the way I taught from that point forward. He was Mr. Jerry, and Mr. Jerry had been a truck driver his whole life. And he had a back injury, and they were going to put him in the office. And Mr. Jerry came into my word basic class, the most bottom level I could possibly, left click, right click. And he sat through the class. He did okay. And at the end, he came up and he said, Miss Bobbye, I learned a lot. It was a good class. But you have to understand, I've driven a truck my whole life. I can tell you every pothole from here to California. But when you tell me to hit my shift key, I'm looking for my gear shift. So his terminology...
It's even further basic than you had imagined.
Yes, even just basic, he just didn't know. And so from that point forward, I've watched for my Mr. Jerry's and make sure that I leave no child left behind. That's my giggle as I say, I'm a no child left behind. Let's wait on this person. Folks are usually very gracious about that. But I throw enough meat and shortcuts, tricks, tips to the folks who are longtime users that it's worth their day as well.
Yeah, they're not dragging along.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a careful balance.
And back to the in person, I benefit from that if I was a student.
Yes.
You could do remote Teams. I almost said Zoom. No Zoom.
Either one.
A Teams meeting, you're on the big screen in a classroom. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's situations where that's what needs to be done. But man, my eyes are going to glaze over.
Yes.
Just watching a screen and hearing your voice through the speakers.
It's a good nap.
You raise your hand, like, I need help over here. The fact that you're there and can walk around and like a teacher, it's huge. And I'm sure your clients appreciate that. When you sign an agreement with a business, do they have the option? Is it up to them? Is it like a rate scale where it's like we can come on location or we can do it remote?
It is.
Is that how that works?
We make plenty of choices for them. We want it to fit their whatever they need, their schedule, their team. There are folks who can't leave. They can't have their whole team leave for a day for a training. So we need to sometimes stagger those. Do you want it to be remote? Do you want us to come on site? And the remotes, by the way, they're very successful. They're fun. It took me a while when we first migrated from physical to more remote. It was a very hard transition.
Yeah.
I was kicking and screaming there for a minute. I wasn't sure it could really be as effective. Now I'm years into it, and I can tell you we have very good remote classes, and I teach it the same. That's what I've found to be true. Is you teach them just like I'm talking to you in person, but I'm on camera. And if they ask a question, I field that question just like I would if they were in the classroom. So those are just fine, but they still typically prefer us to be on site.
Sure, yeah.
On the Microsoft side especially, or business skills particularly. But we want them to, do they need a half a day? Do they need a lunch and learn? Do they have a topic that's just driving them crazy and they want to focus on these 3 topics? They can pick and choose and customize. So we tailor it. That's the other thing that kind of sets us apart is we are run by instructors, but also we really want to tailor it to exactly what your needs are. And we'll meet those needs however we can.
Get it specific.
Yes.
That's what they need.
Yes.
They don't need to hear, okay, great, that all looks good, but we don't need that portion of Teams. We're worried about this section over here, instead of just coming in with a huge overview.
Or reading a book to them. They can go home and read the book. They're adults.
Yeah.
They don't need that. They need somebody to hold their hand and help them to troubleshoot their actual real-world problems.
Mm-hmm.
I teach a ton of Microsoft Project on the road. So
I've never even heard
a lot of construction companies will use Microsoft Project. I've
never even heard of that.
Yes, and it just helps you understand your tasks, durations, and the schedule and the resource allocation on your projects and make sure you're keeping on schedule. That's one of my very top classes on the road.
Okay.
That one's just hot.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What is the most popular class?
I'd say Excel is definitely number one, always, and it's my favorite to teach. We have 3 levels of Excel: basic, intermediate, advanced. We do power pivot, tables, things like that.
Why is it your favorite?
I don't know exactly. Maybe because it's the most popular. I've taught it the most, and I feel like it's the most intimidating for folks. You can kind of figure out words.
Well, there's
it's typing.
So many bells and whistles with Excel. And Google Sheets. I'm kind of lumping them together.
Similar. Mm-hmm.
There's so many options and different formulas and...
It's confusing.
Yeah. I could not function without spreadsheets.
Yeah.
For various different parts of my business and personal life, just organizing things.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm using the basic of the basic. I know how to do sum if I needed to add numbers and everything.
You're doing fine. That's good.
But God, when I just go to explore and click around, and there's so much.
It gets intimidating.
It does, yeah. And the need isn't really there, so it's just like I don't have to learn all the bells and whistles.
Yep.
But I can imagine if I had to, that's a lot.
Well, it keeps them from having to go ask questions to all of their coworkers all the time.
Yeah.
If they become more self-sufficient in it and more confident, which is one of my big goals, it's just less scared of it. I show in Excel how to build a chart in one click, and folks have stayed up all night pulling their hair out trying to make a chart. You can select your data in Excel. Literally, this is an old trick, back to the 03 version, and hit F11 on your keyboard. F11, that's it, one button, and it brings a brand new chart on a brand new sheet that's related to that data. So if the data changes, the chart changes. And they're blown away by that. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
One click. So it's just some of those little tricks that make Excel so popular. It's definitely number one, and it always has been for what I teach. And I just think it's fun because I get a lot of light bulb moments from my students going, dude, I had no idea you could do it that way. So that's my favorite. But Project is a hot number 2, and then I would say number 3 is probably still the Teams, SharePoint, OneNote, OneDrive.
Is Project
confusion
relatively new?
No, it's been around for a long time.
Okay.
But it seems to be gaining popularity, particularly with construction companies. Most of the time, that's what I'm teaching, and they're just trying to manage their schedule for a project.
A lot of spinning plates.
Yes.
And I would gather incorporates team members.
Sure.
So they're all communicating within it.
It does. Yes.
Because I guess in any field right now, there's a lot of apps. So of course, in the podcast space, we're keeping track of production, keeping track of tasking team members and everything. And there's a lot of good apps out there like Trello, Asana, Monday.com. I use all of those. Is that sort of what Project is like?
Yes,
yeah.
Very similar to that.
Okay, yeah.
Just on the Microsoft application side, but yes.
Sure. Then the way it ties in with OneDrive, OneNote, Excel, Word. I mean, it's all...
They all play nicely together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know you can, what's it called when you integrate?
Yes.
There's integration apps up there. So yeah, you can bring in Trello into Microsoft, but it's not as slick as if it's all really designed by the same manufacturer, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I got to go back to the names thing. Okay. Please give me some tips.
Sure. So it's association, essentially. When somebody walks in the room and they say good morning to me, I've got to mark them on the roster that they're here. So I'll ask their name. I'll tell them good morning. I speak to them by name, and then I associate something on their forehead. That's just how I do it. It may be that I have a cousin named that. It might be that when I was a little girl, I had a neighbor named that. It could rhyme with something because it's not a typical name. It doesn't have to make sense. It can be super silly. But I attach that to their forehead. And then they go sit on their row of 4 people on that side of the room, and I'll just sort of go through the 4 in my head and remember who they are. And by the time all of them are in the classroom, I've got it. And
Last names too?
no, just first name. But then if I see them in 6 months coming back for a class, I know who they are. And they're like,
oh, yeah.
I can't believe you remember me.
When you're trying to network
yes,
as a business and you're meeting people and shaking hands, to know their first name is so powerful.
It makes all the difference.
And I fail at that. And it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. Hey, how you doing, man? Doing all right, buddy?
That's right.
Like, no. And I must say, I think it's more common to forget names. And
it is.
But when it's been months seeing somebody and then I see them in the wild, like I say, and they say, hey, Derek, it's impressive.
It is.
It's a different feeling. It really is. It's more connection. And it's like, well, thanks. It's respectful. So I wish I was better at it, but I am so bad with names.
And most would say that.
So bad.
Yeah.
And I think it's if I'm meeting, let's say you bump into someone at Walmart and they're with someone else that you don't know. Hey, this is my friend Joe. I'm kind of an anxious person, kind of naturally.
Yeah.
And I think the interaction makes me black out for a second because the name doesn't even enter the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, within seconds, what's your name again? Like, it's bad. It's really bad.
It's not uncommon. I think most folks who know that's my claim to fame have that same response of, I don't know my own name some days, right? But I've trained my mind. It's like anything else. The more you practice, the better you get and the easier it becomes. My middle name is Dare. I'm a third generation Dare. There are 5 Dares. My daughter and granddaughter also Dare. And so it just means so much to me now that I don't have my mother or grandmother with the Dare name. It's just very endearing to me. And so it feels like it matters. And so years ago, I made that decision that I would memorize everybody's name or I wouldn't start class. And I've done it every day for 18 years.
Wow. So you've really trained that muscle in your brain.
It's a muscle.
It latches on. You have some visual way in your mind to connect dots to the name. And you said something, you put something on their forehead. You put a Post-it note on their forehead?
Whatever works.
Whatever
But
you have this mental thing where you almost like tag them, right?
I do.
Yeah.
And it sticks. I don't lose it after that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I got stuck on that one. Success stories. Do you have a good one?
Well, Mr. Jerry was a big one because he,
right. He was the trucker, right?
Yeah, he was the trucker. And after 2 or 3 classes, he was helping the person beside him. And I was like, go, Mr. Jerry, look at you helping your neighbors.
Look at that.
And so it's that sort of thing. It's those success stories of just watching the confidence of scared to death when you start and just dancing with excitement at the end going, I'm going to get my day done so much easier now.
Yeah.
I love those success stories. And that's what makes me keep going back for more. Every day's a new day. Every day is typically a new group for me. It's usually a new topic. I teach over 100 different courses between Microsoft and all the business skills that I deliver also, that it never gets boring.
Yeah. The key to this is efficiency.
Yes.
That's what they're buying, right?
Productivity, efficiency, streamlining processes. Yeah. Yes.
So it's not just learning a new tool to do different things. We're going to teach you how to use the tool better. And maybe from the beginning too. We don't know how to use this tool. Okay, we're going to teach you how to use the tool. But that's what they're buying. That's the value they're getting is efficiency, so then they can perform more.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day. You are freed up to do more important, decision making or working on projects instead of just this mundane, let me get this stupid thing to do what I want it to do.
Yeah.
And so just the frustration. On the business skills side of things, there are the team buildings and the time management and the email etiquette. There are tons of those as well that are a lot of fun that are just team building for the group. But I was thinking about the time management as you said that, the efficiency and the streamlining of processes. One of the success stories with the time management was years ago I taught the upper level executives of a big plant in Arkansas. And they were the decision makers of the group. They brought me in to teach a time management class. And when they said their challenge was that they were in meetings 80% of their day, every day.
Ugh.
First question was, can you lower that at all? And they're like, it is what it is. We make the decisions. We're in meetings 80% of our day. What do we do with the other 20% to get all of our day-to-day operations done? And then, of course, we're a rotating door of, oh, yeah, you're finally in your office. Can you put out my fire?
Right.
and we're not getting anything done. So what can we do? So I basically threw the book away because none of that applied to them. And I got creative with them. And I said, if I could give you an hour a day that you can shut, lock, bolt the door and get your stuff done, focused attention, would that work for you? And they're like, well, yeah.
1 hour a day.
Where are you going to give me an hour? And I said, well, we default to Outlook's 1 hour or 30-minute meetings. We just default to it. We assume that's what we get, so that's what we're going to make it. How much of that 30-minute meeting is actually productive? Could you kick the chairs out of the office and just everybody stand up or take a walk and do something different and make it more quick and meaty and get rid of some of the mundane stuff? Shave off 5-10 minutes from each of your meetings and there's your power hour. And they implemented that company-wide and said for that 1 power hour, unless you're bleeding or dying, don't knock on my door. Let me get my stuff done. And then they were freed up to do the other meetings. They just tightened it up and made it more productive and less fluff. That gave them their power hour.
And they loved you for that.
They loved it.
Yeah.
It was a simple thing, but you just got to think outside the box for each team and what they need.
Yeah, time management's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
You know, I'm spinning so many different plates.
Yes.
And I have a color-coded Google Calendar.
Yes.
You know, as I was taught, and it helps. And I have Trello, and you know, like all those things I've explained and keeping me accountable and keeping me on track and
Sure.
deadlines and everything. But no 2 days are the same.
Yes.
But you have to have that discipline to be like, no,
Yeah.
today from noon to 2,
Yeah.
I'm doing X.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to push away the distractions.
It is.
It's so difficult.
It's a lot about the distractions.
It is. I'm a squirrel. You know, like it's just like, oh, I got to do this thing. All of a sudden now, no, this is priority when it really isn't.
Yes. There's a difference in urgent versus
Yeah,
important,
that
right?
email can wait 3 hours.
That's right.
It really can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right. So calendars work,
Yeah.
different applications, theories, all good.
Mm.
But it takes discipline, doesn't it?
It does, for sure.
You have to put it into action.
Yeah.
And it's tricky, for
It
sure.
is.
I mean, you must come across this doing what you do.
I do. My own real world is time management with 6 grown kids and 9 grands and a puppy, and travel. It's what motivates me. It's because I'm forced to make sure every hour of every day that I'm aware, even if it's just resting, right? I need to rest my body today. Just knowing what needs to get done and living by calendar like you do, lots of colors. I color code mine.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't go in the calendar, I probably won't get it done. I've got to have it on the calendar. But yeah, it's a lot to juggle like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I don't want something like Microsoft slow me down. I want to get through that to get to the good stuff.
You get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Well, in closing, I would love to give you the opportunity to add anything you feel like we've missed. Whatever you want to wrap up with, the floor is yours.
So probably I would wrap up with, we are so flexible for what anybody might need. It might be that you're calling me going, I need an hour to just help me troubleshoot this problem. I'll do a one-on-one with you, remote or on-site, a team, a group, whatever it may be, a lunch and learn. We have my other 2 partners teach all the high-tech stuff and new certifications, new exams. They hand-hold and get everybody ready for those. So you name it, everything from just a basic computer skill all the way up to the high-tech stuff, and we're just looking for what's rolling out that's new. We do it all.
Yeah.
Just reach out, and we got your back.
Man, Techtrain365.com.
That's right.
You guys are invaluable.
Thank you.
You guys will never go without business.
We're having a lot of fun doing it.
and if you keep up, like you said, and you're always on the cutting edge,
Yes.
keeping up with these updates and new things, you guys have signed your meal ticket.
And we're having fun doing it. That's really
awesome.
counts. If we have fun, you have fun typically.
Good for you. And I should have mentioned this in the front end. I mean, you live here in Hernando.
I do.
You know, this is the real Hernando. People might be like,
Where's she from?
Because you don't have a brick and mortar. No one's driving by the Techtrain365 office.
We're it.
So, but you live here in Hernando. How long have you been in Hernando?
I've been in Hernando 6 months, but
okay.
originally from this area. In fact, I lived in Eudora for 12 years, a million years ago.
There you go.
Memphis area, went away to Nashville for a year, went to Tupelo for a couple of years, and now we're kind of back home where all the kids live,
Right,
and
yeah.
it's good to be back home. We love Hernando.
Yeah, me too. That's why I made this podcast.
I love it.
But thank you again for doing this. It was a pleasure getting to know you.
My pleasure.
You're full of fun.
Thank you.
I love the passion you have with what you do, and helping people, because I'm sure so many businesses are grateful for what you guys do for them, especially if you're saving them time.
Yes.
Power
That's what
hours.
it's all about.
Those power hours.
Yeah.
And to the listeners, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. If you made it this far, congratulations. I wish I could give you a lollipop or something. But we do appreciate you. Also, I appreciate our sponsors, our wonderful, beautiful sponsors that I mentioned on the front end, especially Wesley Meadows Retirement Community. They make this train move. If you're interested in learning more about this podcast, you can go to therealhernando.com. There you have links to everything you can imagine. Okay, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we're on TikTok. Did you know The Real Hernando is hip?
I did.
We're not on Snapchat.
I've been watching you on TikTok.
That's a little extreme. Okay, cool. I like hearing that. That's funny. I'm not on TikTok personally, but The Real Hernando does really well on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok's is the best anyway. I know there's a whole other issue with them going away, coming back in China and the whole thing. But if you're a small business and looking at social media, TikTok will get you some views for sure. There you go. I don't know why I broke into a TikTok tutorial there. Anyways, to the watchers, listeners, all our beautiful sponsors, once again, Bobbye, Garrity,
yes.
Thanks for doing this. It's Techtrain365.com. Go check that out. And thank you for being here today. You'll have a good day.